Thank you all for being here today. My name is Dario Rivera, and I represent the public relations firm Jacobson McKenna, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of our firm for having us here today. As I'm sure you are all aware, we are here to discuss the unfortunate incident that occurred earlier this afternoon at the Jets training camp facility. You all have a copy of the slide presentation in the folders in front of you, so please follow along and jot down any questions you might have as we go along. We will hold questions until the end of the presentation, at which time you may ask anything you like. Obviously, this is an issue where time is of the essence, so let's dive right in. First, a brief overview of the facts as we currently understand them. At the start of today's public training camp event, the bleachers where fans were being seated collapsed and several people were injured. Most of the injuries were minor, although there were some broken bones and one patron did sustain much more serious injuries and remains hospitalized. The media has reported that inspectors had previously advised the organization that these bleachers were in need of repair, but that those recommendations were unheeded and no repairs were made. This report has been verified to be accurate and warrants further, more detailed investigation. Our job is to determine how this very unfortunate incident might impact the reputation of your organization and to help you to minimize any damage in the best way possible. First and foremost, the admission that mistakes were made is imperative. A situation such as this requires full transparency and an attitude of sincere apology. The organization will need to be very proactive in its investigation and corrective measures, and that should be conveyed to the public on an ongoing basis. In addition, we need to have a solid plan to address issues that will be raised by the media and the public to see that the situation does not spiral out of control. Many of the issues that might be brought up will likely have nothing at all to do with the issues at hand. People love to complain about the teams they love as well as the teams they hate. Both camps will have something to say about this story. How many of you can hear the commentators and see the message boards lighting up with things like this? The organization is negligent, reckless, makes bad decisions. The Jets cannot manage their money and spend it on unnecessary or even damaging things, for example, controversial player personnel decisions, while neglecting legitimate team needs and now basic needs to ensure public safety. What other safety issues have been neglected here? What other disasters are just waiting to happen? How long have the Jets made it their practice to ignore maintenance recommendations? Why were the inspectors not following up to make sure repairs were made? Who exactly ignored the recommendations? How far up does the corner cutting go? Is the team cutting corners on their players' safety as well? There's been a lot of talk about tension and disgruntlement in the locker room over the last couple of years. Does any of that have to do with players who maybe feel they are not equipped with what they need for their safety? This really appears to be an organization in chaos from top to bottom, and it is always the fans who suffer, unfortunately. Now some of them are forced to endure much more direct suffering, both physically and emotionally. It's all about the spin, ladies and gentlemen. We do not want to create spin here. We want to be honest and forthright about what happened and about what we are doing to see that it doesn't happen again. But the story will be spun, and our job is to keep it from spinning out of control. We can do that, and do it well, by presenting a consistent and cohesive message to the public from start to finish. That requires a plan, which we will outline now. Our first order of business has been to put together a comprehensive and multidisciplinary crisis response team. If you are sitting in this room, you will find yourself listed on these next two slides. As you can see here, the team will include representatives from our firm, Jets upper management, your CFO, members of the facilities and maintenance staff, independent safety inspectors, media relations and social media staff from our firm and your organization, spokesperson Christina Mathis, who is the New York Jets Chief Communications Officer, and finally, a special task force who will be appointed to directly address the concerns of the injured and create an ongoing safety outreach program. Who will we be addressing in our communications? In a situation like this, it will be more than just football fans who will hear about, care about, talk about, and speculate about what happened here. It will essentially be everyone. Bloggers are blogging as we speak. Parents concerned about the safety of their families will be talking to their kids and to each other about this. Players and officials will be talking about whether or not they want their names associated with the organization. And of course, the media. They'll be doing what the media does, and they do it 24 hours a day. We will release information on an ongoing basis through several different media channels, some of which are listed here. Obviously, we will want to cover traditional media, social media, and other internet and mobile media formats. It is very important that the message your organization sends is both consistent and positive. To that end, the following guidelines should be followed without fail. Employees of the New York Jets organization should refrain from speaking to media representatives in detail, but should not be unfriendly or defiant in any way. If approached, they should refer any in-depth media inquiries to the spokesperson. The following talking points can be mentioned if you are approached by the media, but again, no more details should be given, other than what you see here. We are aware of the severity of this issue and we realize that mistakes were made. We are doing our very best to find out where the mistakes were made and correct them so that we never have a situation like this again. When fans come to see their favorite teams and athletes, they should be safe from harm. We are doing and will continue to do everything possible to ensure that this situation does not ever happen again at any of our facilities. Later this afternoon, members of the media will gather here at the Jets training facility for a press conference. The following statement will be read and a limited number of questions will be taken. On June 8th, during the New York Jets open house training camp, the bleacher seats collapsed, with fans on them, and several people were injured. This occurred at 10:42 a.m. while Jets fans were looking to find seating to enjoy the fourth day of training camp with the New York Jets. Currently, we understand that 15 people were injured in the accident and that it is believed to have occurred due to the people that were already sitting in their seats and those climbing that weakened the bleacher seats and steps. All injured parties were taken to area hospitals, with most being treated for minor injuries and released. 3 people sustained broken bones and 1 person was admitted for more complicated injuries. That person is reported to be in serious but stable condition. The names of injured parties are not currently being released. We will provide updates as they are made available to us. We are looking into exactly how this occurred and have started a full investigation into the matter. It has been reported by the media that some within our organization had prior knowledge of repairs that needed to be made to our bleachers section. Upper management was previously unaware of the details of any issues that were discovered with our bleachers, but they are confident that our investigation will be thorough and complete as quickly as is possible. We will be fastidious in our correction of any and all safety and maintenance issues and will provide for fair compensation to all of the fans injured in this unfortunate situation. After the press conference, this story will likely receive very heavy coverage, particularly on the sports news networks and on countless blogs and message boards. It is imperative from the very beginning and throughout the investigation and corrective period that the message coming out of the organization remain consistently transparent and focused on lessons learned and positive steps forward. Anything that could even whisper the possibility of cover-up must not occur. It will be primarily the job of the spokesperson and our electronic media representatives to make sure that the organization speaks across platforms with one consistent voice. Therefore, this entire team will meet frequently to monitor and manage this plan as the situation further develops. Long-term recovery may be a moving target, somewhat, but our plan for your organization at this time is outlined here. As we have stated several times, transparency is key, throughout the short term and long term. The formation of your internal safety compliance task force will provide oversight of maintenance and security issues. Your facilities and equipment will be monitored regularly by independent inspectors and their findings will be shared with the public as appropriate. There will be an increase in the number of usher and security personnel on site at all fan-attended events that take place in or at Jets-controlled facilities. The fans who were injured in this incident will be compensated for their injuries and given VIP status at future Jets events. The exact nature of benefits offered is currently under consideration. A Safety First public service and awareness campaign will be implemented to promote public goodwill and community involvement. It is our sincere belief that by following the plan we have laid out, the situation can be effectively addressed and corrected with minimal, if any, damage to the reputation of the New York Jets organization. And that, before we know it, public focus will be back on the field and on the fun and fellowship that New York Jets fans hold dear. Thank you again for being here today, for allowing us to be here to assist you, and for the excellent work I know you will all bring to this team as we go forward. If there are any questions, we are happy to answer those at this time.